Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I am Jeff.
And this is a board gaming podcast about board games.
Yes, it is.
And only board games, as you will soon discover is a lie.
Yes. We are immediately going to prove that lie by doing our classic, I always forget the term. Like, I remembered it earlier, and then I forget it when it comes time to record.
The period that we're in right now?
Yeah, the engagement zone. The engagement zone.
Engagement period.
I literally said period to try and help Ryan.
I don't care about what type of describing of the engagement it is. But anyway, we've been off for a week. We missed a week of recording, and we missed a week of streaming. And for the engagement period...
Summer break. Let's just call it summer break. Formula One was off. We are off. That's how it works. That's how it works now.
Oh, is that so? Jeff, was it because Formula One was off? Were you like trying to recreate the... you missed
it's my traditional angry driving.
Can I suggest do not hit a wall at like 150 miles an hour?
It's usually 180 that I hit the wall at.
Yeah.
But, I have millions and millions of dollars in this, company that just rebuilds the car.
Yeah.
So.
And the car is designed, and your car is designed to hit walls at 180
yes.
and then have you survive, right?
And it's also made to only go for about 2 hours, and then you're done.
Yeah.
But if I could go 2 hours at like 200 miles an hour the whole way, I'd be totally down.
Yeah. You would go like 400 miles.
Yeah. That wouldn't be so bad. And then all I would need is a new couple liters of whatever corn oil they use or whatever for their fuel now. And then see, the hard part about the hybrids is that they regenerate by braking. So that means I would have to like brake a lot. So you couldn't be going that full speed the whole time because it would never be able to recharge the battery. That would be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
I guess you'd go 200 miles an hour until you hit the guy going 75 in front of you.
That'll make you brake.
And you know what? Those Formula One cars probably don't have horns.
No. Just yell at them.
You gotta honk and it's just steering wheel.
And then you try to, and then the steering wheel comes off, and you're like, "Oh fuck!"
It very easily comes off. Actually, yes. Yeah. That's how they get in and out of the cars. They have to take the steering wheel off.
It's amazing.
Episode 240, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 240 episodes.
I know.
We're 10 away from 250 episodes.
Yeah.
Gross.
That's a quarter of 1,000.
Yeah.
We could conceivably hit 1,000. Like, I just want you guys to imagine
doing this
75% more.
Doing what we've done times 4.
It'd only be times 3.
No, 250 times 4.
3 more times.
Three more times.
Three more times. But the number we have times 4.
Correct.
It makes 1,000.
Sure. That is.
We're coming out from very different directions.
We 100% are.
Both of them are sad.
I was just trying to get a little bit more.
Both are sad numbers.
Yeah. Anyway, well, with that engagement period out of the way, now people are super engaged.
Hard stop on anything entertaining.
All I'll say is that once we get to the point where the episode number is higher than the amount of views or listens said episode gets, that's gonna be sad.
I feel like it's a reasonable time to just be like, all right, guys, we're done.
Yeah.
Like when that day happens, if we can't pull at least one new listener a week,
we did have
episode in perpetuity.
Yes,
I knew it was there.
That's the contract we had to sign with the podcast gods. That your listeners has to be more than your episode number.
Yeah.
That's why it was real dicey in the beginning, because this is like,
at the beginning,
no listeners. Oh shit.
We met up with Patrick and Brandon just in the nick of time. We were getting into those double-digit episode numbers, and no double-digit.
And you know what? They reached out to us.
True,
they did.
True,
and lifted us up.
They did.
Elevated. Like some sort of alien gods coming to your prehistoric world and showing you nuclear power.
Yeah, I just remember when our looking at Libsyn, our podcast host,
previous podcast.
Still.
Is it, oh yeah, that's right. Well, did we have another one?
No, we've always been Libsyn.
Okay.
We've been thinking about moving over because Libsyn used to be one of like the top 3 or 4 ranked places to host a podcast, and now they're like barely in most top 10s.
Yeah.
So you got to move.
But I remember before and after, like their episode aired, it was a big spike.
Boom.
Easily one of our biggest
Yeah.
spikes.
They had to bleep us.
It was like
They did have to bleep
Yeah, it
us.
was like, oh my god, 99 downloads in a day.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I bet if we looked for people talking about us, we'd find it, but we don't anymore. So
it's true.
because everyone talks about us on Slack now.
Yeah.
That's where our instant gratification comes from these days.
Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about new wave reviews on BGG, and then you'll find some comments about Mile High Game Guys. War of the Worlds.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
That's
Because
fine.
we didn't play it enough.
No, clearly.
Seven.
I meant to reply to that guy.
Seven
Politely.
losses in a row.
Mhm.
I mean, but it was me, so I can
I
understand.
mean, they weren't all. Well, okay, yeah, you're 7 in a row. But I mean, like, the humans won 1 out of any of our games. Like, it wasn't.
I don't remember them ever winning.
Maybe they didn't.
I think maybe Adrian won one, but
Sure.
there's no way to know.
Yeah, it's impossible to ever know. So on that note, I was going to let Jeff talk about his week and why we missed recordings and streamings, but I guess that'll be in the regular
Because I
banter.
slammed someone in the rear.
Well, that was the stream.
Wow.
You were also brained.
Oh, yes, I was
we're not
also
talking
brain-
about that. We're talking about
Okay.
what happened to your car.
Yeah. Jeff, your personal life
Yeah.
is personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, on to board games.
On to board games.
So we have 2 weeks of game nights to talk. It's a little subtle branding.
Yes.
We have two weeks of game night to talk about. So let's dive right into there. Jeff, I think you've played by far the most games.
I've
so
played
let's just-
like a lot of games for not being either at game night or playing games at game night.
yeah.
I have done other game things.
Yeah, so we're gonna open the floodgates and let it go nuts. Oh no, we don't have a stream because it's been 2 weeks since we streamed, right?
Yes.
So we don't have a stream to start.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No stream.
No
yet.
stream here.
Lost Ruins of Arnak. Last stream.
Yeah.
Still enjoy it. Want to play more.
Anyway, you've been playing.
I have been playing a lot of board games. I will start with the most recent board game because I can remember it the most. It was Pandemic Legacy Season 0, the game I've owned since July last year because I had pre-ordered it some amount of months earlier, and then it finally shipped last July, and I was like, yeah, we're not playing this year, right? And everyone's like, nope. So we didn't until Sunday, which we played the first 3 months of
Jesus.
Pandemic Legacy Season 0. We played the prologue, January, February, and March. We won.
Or is it the
I
same
have-
group?
Same group.
I have the
Yes.
inside track that you didn't lose any of them.
We did not lose any of them. We were extremely close to losing February and March by I think I won it on my turn on both of those, or it was I would have lost it for us on my turn for both of those. So we had to win by my turn. And I think in the March, it was like, Hail Mary, if we don't get blank, we will win on my turn. And then the previous one, I think Andrew, who was sitting to my right, won on his February or March round. But yeah, Pandemic Legacy Season 0. We have a little thread in our Slack where we're talking about very, very light spoilery, only spoilers for prologue, so no legacy elements.
Right.
Spoilers of just pure mechanics of what Pandemic Legacy Season 0 is. Pandemic Legacy Season 0 is the most complete Pandemic game, or it is a more complete Pandemic game than Season 2 was. Season 2, you needed to kind of fill out a little more to get a little more game out of there,
Mm-hmm.
where this is more of a complete game from step 0, really, because of the prologue. And of course, it is the 1962 Soviet Cold War era. You're the CIA agents going around this world,
making contacts and stuff.
stopping Soviet agents. The infection deck is the incident or the threat deck now. Instead of cubes, it's Soviet agents. There's no different colored cubes or anything like that. It's just all Soviet agents. surveillance is the thing that you're worried about. So you don't want to be in a city at the start of your turn that has any surveillance because you'll blow cover, which will as the previous Legacy games kind of scratch off a portion of your character card. In the prologue, you're using pre-passport characters, so you're just discarding a card instead of scratching anything off because there's no Legacy elements in the prologue. But the characters in the prologue are exactly the same. They have the exact same powers.
Gotcha.
So where the civilians in the previous ones did not have any specific character powers, these ones do.
Okay.
So if you do end up losing a character, you can still play a character that has some power to it, which is nice because if you didn't have enough characters in any of those previous Legacy games, you were fucked with capital FUCKED, and has many exclamation points as you would feel. Where this doesn't make you feel like if you didn't have to use any of those characters with the additional stickers and stuff, you wouldn't feel at a super disadvantage.
Okay. Interesting.
Pivoting off of that slightly, Adrian and I finished our Legacy
Season 2?
Season 2,
yeah.
And it was very much on the last game, because we didn't have anybody die, that we're going into these last things of man, if one of our characters dies right now, we're going to be fucked because nobody has any, all of these 4 characters have
additional,
all the skills.
Yeah.
And that's about
there
it.
was I think 2 other characters that had a skill each, but it wasn't even good skills.
No.
Our Season 2, one of our characters died fairly early, and that was brutal for the rest of our campaign.
Yeah.
But in Season 0, just that prologue is a fun pandemic game.
Cool.
I'm trying to get Adrian to play, but he was just no, I've got other things to do, like paint.
Paint rooms.
Paint rooms.
Your whole basement.
Still
changing the colors of everything.
You can't see it because my arm immediately washes out when I hold it up to
because
the
it's white on white.
Yeah, it's white on white.
Yeah. But yeah, Pandemic Legacy Season 0, super fun, very different. You have so you're not getting cures because you're not curing the Soviets with fiery hot nuclear bombs.
Are you overcoming them?
Yes. In a Lost Ruins of Arnak way, you are overcoming the Soviet agents.
Okay.
Neutralizing, I think, is the word that that they use.
Gotcha.
That's definitely a spy euphemism.
Yeah.
It is so instead of curing, you are using there's 3 different types of cities: Allied, neutral, and Soviet. And if you have 5 of a kind of any of those types of cities, not specifically continent or color, because there's more colors, there's 6 different areas of the world, and you just need those specific Allied, neutral, or Soviet 5 of a kind to make a team, and that team is the medic. So no one is the medic in this. You have to move that team around. At the end of anyone's turn that team is at, they will wipe out all cubes, aka agents, Soviet agents, at any space. But it has to be of that type. So if you have a Soviet team, they can only medic the Soviet cities, neutral to neutral, allied to allied. But as the objectives go on in the game, you need specific Allied teams, neutral teams, or Soviet teams to go to specific of that type of city. Moscow, clearly a Soviet. You would need a Soviet team to do anything in that Soviet city.
Okay.
I don't know why, but in my mind, I'm just matching the little pawn or whatever it is it has a little steel paperclick sort of thing that it's all right, now you just put the cube right behind, right in front of it, right in between thing, and you just slowly wire the fucking
strangle, garroting.
I've always thought it was
piano,
but
garrote. Yeah, could be.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever heard it said. I've only seen it
all
written.
I know it is from a World of Warcraft rogue ability. It makes you bleed.
It makes you bleed. It is obviously in other things, but that's the
that's where I've heard it the most, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of the hook. And you have your supply centers, but they're safe houses, but you can't fly between them. Soviet cities you can't fly to because that's not how things worked in 1962. You can't just fly from Washington to Moscow.
Don't tell me what to do.
Unless you have an unregistered flight.
is that a thing you can get?
Yeah. Oh, well,
Seemed
that's
like that might spoiler.
well, that's just how that action works. So if you have a allied city, all you have to do is reveal the card, and you fly to that city. You don't have to discard it.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, okay.
If you have a neutral card, you discard it to go to the neutral city, and then I don't remember what the Soviet version was, but there's a version where you can go to a Soviet city with like an unregistered flight or something like that. But kind of like the hook was, okay, I can go. Oh, if you discard a city card of where you are, you can go to any city, and that's your unregistered flight. But if you have an allied city, let's say I have Sydney, Australia, I reveal it, I go there for one action. Now I discard it because I am in Sydney and I can go anywhere.
Oh.
So with 2 actions, if you have an allied card, you can go anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. So it kind of changes up those traditional pandemic
Movement
actions.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah. But that's all just out of the straight up base prologue. There's nothing like, this is just the game. There's no spoilers here unless you're like, mechanics are spoilers, and then fuck you for thinking that. And that's it, I think, for Pandemic Legacy Season 0 before getting into spoilers and things like that.
Okay.
It is very good so far.
Nice.
I would highly recommend. I would recommend it more than Season 2.
See, I
Maybe
think
less than Season 1, but we're not all the way through yet.
Yeah, now that I've finished Season 2, I think Season 2 might be my favorite.
It depends on, how well you enjoyed it. So,
Yeah. I don't know, but I do want to try 0.
yeah. We did Jime again. We started up the 4th campaign. This has probably been the most I've played a game to purchase a game in a long time.
Yeah.
So we've gone through the 2 base campaigns, the first DLC campaign. Now we're on the 2nd DLC campaign,
Which we are playing on hard.
and we are going to hard on
You're
this
playing
one.
with 5 people.
5
Correct.
people. Because
And-
it's easy, medium, and hard. Medium is your normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first 2 campaigns, it was just Paul, Jeff, and I. So we were 3 characters each. So 6. And then for this next one, it was all 5 of us played the other characters we hadn't played yet because there are 11 total. So now have played all 11 characters. So for this one, it was like, choose whichever one you want.
Yeah.
And so shocking. The most shocking thing you've ever heard is that Paul went Legolas again.
Oh, yeah.
After his
no.
first action defeating the boss, second action finishing off the second version of the boss.
Yeah. This second version, stronger version of the boss. So it was like, oh, well, I just...
Two shotted the boss.
Two
with
one-shot. 2 one-shots.
Yeah, with his single activation, with his 2 actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to go for that again. This one takes place... where the fuck are we?
It's like, not Dale?
Dale, yes. We're in the Hobbit land, where they go to the Lonely Mountain and the Lake Town area.
Okay.
Post Smaug.
So that is Dale.
Yes.
Because when you said something about the way you said like Dale, because it's in Hobbit Town, I was like,
where the
no,
Hobbit took place.
Yes.
Where a lot of the Hobbit took place.
Yes.
So this is
Bard, the bowman?
Yes.
He was
And-
name checked.
and this is the descendant of Bard, I believe. I think so.
Well, it takes place before Lord of the Rings.
But after the Hobbit.
Hobbit. Right.
So I want to say this is post.
It could be, he could just be an older one because
This is true. He could be the older version, the older King Bard. But I think we've interacted with his son, maybe, and that's who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So yeah, but
seems likely.
But this is a direct like Hobbit-ish campaign so far.
Cool.
There's some shadow that we have to like find, like some white. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know that's how that we only did one mission.
Mm-hmm.
And it was go around and like do a council. It was very unique. Like a lot of these missions I have been. It was a different take on just instead of going to these areas and using the interact tokens, there was some sort of like mechanic behind it that was interesting and new.
And
cool.
And what was great is that we made Paul
as Legolas and the murderer.
The murderer, he interacted with this council thing. That's like, all right, you've got to be here. You've got to interact with the council instead of attacking people.
All you have to do is use your actions to talk to the council and convince them to help us instead of murdering things.
It was fun. I mean, he still had a chance to kill stuff, but also
he needed to do other things to help us.
Yeah, he needed to do other things to help us.
Yeah,
but then also this map was like, it was a tiny map, and then it was like, all right, let's
here's
explore
literally everything.
Yeah.
Like they put down every tile.
Oh, geez.
Because you need to go kind of the end of each tile to get like clues and stuff like
We're
that.
looking for rumors.
Rumors of
Yeah.
the white or shadow or whatever it was.
Okay.
And basically everyone was going into the little like the fingers of various spots trying to get to that.
Yeah.
And then I was sort of in the center with all of the enemies on me
as
a tank,
as
the guardian.
the Guardian Gimli with a different item set.
Yeah, normally you have the two-handed axe, but I chose the hatchet and the shield. And then I also got some of my guardian stuff out. So it was like anytime anything attacked me, I basically just had 2 successes at all. So
Auto free damage denial.
Yeah, so I had all of these things attacking me, and I was just like, I pass. And a lot of it was funny too, is because I'm gonna do the ring mail that has my agility be 1 again because it was great. I don't need to. And all of these things were like, you need agility, and it was so like, I still got 2 successes. I still got 2 successes.
Yeah, it's like even if you test, it's like even if you fail, you still have 2 successes. So we won that one and moved along into not playing anymore that day. So we've only been 1 admission into that. And then we played Descent again.
Yes, we did.
Which is just Zach, Paul, and I. The terrain continues to be awesome.
Yeah.
The app continues to be super cool. Everything about it seems to be a great fucking huge box of awesome shit.
Yeah.
That Adrian is currently showing on stream because he recently purchased that for
because I caved.
Because I caved for a cool 175.
No, it's 20% off.
Oh, you got it from
Black and Red.
You got it from Black and Red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you wanted the promos, right?
I got that, and I got, despite also never opening or playing my Jime, I got a Jime set they had there for $15, and the Jime set and that was still less than $175.
Yeah. The first mini expansion.
Yeah.
Descent continues to be cool, but I don't think we can talk much about it without too much spoilers.
No, I would just say so far like we just talked about how Jime has had. I was like, like these are some unique scenarios. This one so far, all 4 of the scenarios that we've played have been very different.
Cool.
And not just like, a little different, like real different.
Mechanically, like crazy, like Zelda Lost Woods equivalent of trying to find the right path. I genuinely don't really remember the last one. We were in woods.
Well, so the one before that was just like rescuing a bunch of people. But it was like
we had to go into a burning building, and like the tiles would actually shrink to like a different type of tile because it would burn off.
Yeah.
And that was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a
there was a golem there that was basically like, because it was you were trying a new character out.
Yes,
the dwarf.
We were unlocking one of the character classes.
Yeah.
And it was like
it was literally called Keely's Mistake.
Yes,
was the
that
enemy.
was the name of the enemy. Was that character's mistake?
Because that character made it, and then it started going crazy, and you're
to try and defend the dwarves that were there, and then it went nuts.
I see. Okay,
but then you had to make a decision on your decision tree that was like, I made the golem, and then you had to choose. I made it tough or I made it fast.
Yeah,
and I was like, fast.
But yeah, and you're like,
this was Descent.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Keely is one of the original dwarves in the Hobbit series, so I thought maybe you jumped back to Jime weirdly.
No.
Yeah. I was like,
it might be a Descent reference, but
and then the other one was like had like someone was in like a different realm that you had to like
a dream realm. So we had a dream world that someone was interacting with.
Okay,
and we had to protect their
his body. And it was the most fucked scenario. Yeah. It was just like wolf spawn, wolf spawn, wolf spawn, wolf spawn, wolf spawn. Like, and it was always spawning like 3. No matter, like, he would get up and be like dreamily like moving along, but he would always be 3 fucking spaces away from where they spawned. So no matter what, they would be able to attack him. And it's not like they moved 3; they shifted 3, which ignores all sort of
you can't impede them.
Yeah, you can't impede them by being in the way. But like, haha, nope, I'm just a wolf and brap, chomp, 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 chomp. And it was almost to the level of hilarity how much we couldn't do against those fucking wolves and how much they would spawn.
Yeah, besides, like, well, it was like we'd clear the board and it's like, all right, more of them coming. Like, God damn it.
And then it was like, okay, now you fight the thing in real life that he's fighting in his dream, and it has 180 180 health. And you're like, what the god fuck is happening here? We somehow won.
Yeah.
And it was barely.
Yeah.
In my and we also playing on the hard of that Descent.
We are
campaign,
playing
but
heroic.
There is a harder.
Yeah, but fuck that.
Yeah, but
because I looked at it which has a really good fucking glossary on the app. Like it tells you how it breaks down in that not heroic, but one pass heroic. I'll call it nightmare mode. How about that?
Yeah.
I looked at it and I was like, fuck everything that's happening in that. So
yes. So yeah, but heroic feels like a challenging version.
Okay.
Descent continues to be real good. We're like 4 in minus some like side quest things that are purely narrative.
Yeah.
Everything in it has been, say, a 9 out of 10. 4 out of 5. Easy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We played some Clank Legacy Surprise at the Game Lounge for game night because we had all the people from the Clank Legacy group there. So this was our second game of Clank Legacy. Everyone got points, including Zach.
Including me.
You remembered to go take your treasure back to town?
What I remembered was
not to trade your treasure away because you needed to win.
Yeah. But I also made sure I was the first person to leave. But that honestly hurt me a bit. I should have stayed around more getting points because I ended up in third.
Yes, and I ended up in second and Wes in first, which I think is you and V traded because
Correct.
I think you were in last because you scored 0.
I did get the associate spotlight though, which didn't really mean anything. We
have no real idea what that means. Yeah. It's like Clank, and it's fun.
Especially because when I got there, I think I was still at 100% health too.
I think you had healed on your way out, and you were like, "Fuck you, nerds."
Yeah,
it's like, all right, see you in third place, sucker.
Yeah.
Clank Legacy. It is a very good Legacy game. It is kind of the most-ish Legacy game I've played so far. A lot of tearing, a lot of writing.
Yeah.
That's what's been happening.
We just started adding some stickers on the board that's like, it added a new type of space. It's like, oh, that's cool, but also...
fuck the space.
Yeah.
I played the Trogdor board game. It is the most random of the kind of that board game that you could play, and it's very on theme. If you want to play a thematic random game about Trogdor the Burninator burninating the countryside and all the thatch roof cottages, this is the board game for you.
I used to remember that song by heart, and I don't remember it anymore.
Thatch roof cottages.
I do remember thatch roof. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh shit, that is part of that song. Something about his one arm,
so
too.
it's cooperative. You each have different like controllers of Trogdor that each kind of have like a unique power. Like my power was, so it's like a 4x5 grid of tiles that you're burninating to like burninated sides.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing cards for a certain amount of action points that are move, burninate, and that's pretty much it. So, but like my character, I could do wraparound movement. So if I moved off the top of the board, I would come on the bottom side of the board, stuff like that. And your goal is to burninate every tile, burn all of the thatch roof cottages, and have no peasants on the board. But there's also a bower and some knights on there. So you get to do your actions and move, and then you draw a card that's peasants. The peasants will spawn depending on how many it wants on the board, and then they will all move. But if you burninate a spot that has a peasant on it, you have a little fiery crown you will put on them because their head is on fire now, and they will draw a card and move whatever the card says. So it's like, north, north, east, south, east, east. And then it will burninate every tile that it walks through.
That they panically run through.
Exactly. And if they run through any other peasants, they will then also get the fire crown after that one dies and goes to the void, and then kind of chain off and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then at the end of every round, the knights and archer will move, and if they move through you, they will do damage. But you can literally do nothing to mitigate that. It's just like, I guess whatever this random card, what they move is what they move. And if they all happen to move through you, you could take 3 damage in a turn, and there's literally nothing you can do about it unless one of your items lets you do that or your hero card lets you negate damage.
Okay.
And
you're all playing different Trogdors?
No, you're just controlling the same Trogdor. You're just alternating control.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's super random because all of those movement cards are just very, like they move 6, but it's all just random based on it's it's just could be anything on that card of like how much they move east or west or north or south. And you just have to be like, I guess it's just the pure card. Very, very, very random.
Okay.
But, not long, like less than 30 minutes. And then even when you die, you get to go on a rage quit rampage, which is Trogdor does not lose. He quits and flips the table. So at the very end, you draw like 4 or 5 movement cards and you just move him and just burn everything as you move, destroying everything. So if you're very close, like maybe a tile or 2 away from winning, you can maybe based on that randomness and just tons of movement, like clear out the board, and then you get like an even better win if you win via that way. We did not win based on one tile. One tile was the one that totally boned us. But we almost won.
Well, clearly you weren't the best Burninator.
It's true.
You'd Burninate better.
But we did not lose because Trogdor doesn't not lose.
Great. I love it.
Yeah. We played the deluxe edition that had the minis. All the meeples and stuff were in there. The minis were interesting, but I think the meeples look better.
Okay.
And also all the meeples had all the different versions of Trogdor from that Flash video you remember from 20 years ago, where there was like the really good one that Strong Sad did, or the really bad one that Strong Mad did. But you can play as that version in the game because they have all the different meeples for it. Or you could do the one with the weird strong arm if you really want to.
Yeah, that's the main one. The
traditional, yes. I also played Cryo. Cryo is a worker placement resource management game with 1,000 options, but is incredibly simple and probably not complex enough to play more than a couple times.
Sure.
Your cryo colony ship crashes on a planet that is too cold for humanity to live on, so you need to go into the tunnels underneath.
I remember talking about that during a news segment. Yeah,
and you have
there's drones and things.
Yeah, you have 3 workers, which are your drones that go out, and then wherever spot they go to, you can do the 4 actions that are around them, but only one of them. But if they're like a little resource trapezoid, they can actually go onto your platform to when the drone comes back, you can pay that resource to get a better resource at the bottom. So you can either instant get that resource or then use it as a payment to get something else like energy or one of your cryo tubes or draw a card or something like that.
Okay.
And it has multi-use cards that are a vehicle that lets you go into the caverns, or an upgrade, or a mission that is endgame points. So every card is triple use. But it's it's like a weird series of actions to be able to even play one of those cards.
Yeah.
But any time that you do any action of putting a drone out or recalling all your drones, you can always scrap a card for some of its resources that it has. Cards have, well, then technically 4 different uses.
Yeah, I was just saying, I feel like because each side had a different.
Yes. Cryo was interesting, but I couldn't see it being interesting for like a long time.
Okay.
I would like to play it with more players. I only played it with 2 players.
Okay.
And 4 players, I think, could crowd it out a little more and make some of those caverns more than just kind of like a twofer for who has majority and a little more like that.
Okay.
But now I know how to play, so now we can play.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cryo has very good components as well. A kind of dark game.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I sabotaged the cryo tubes and fuck those guys. And it's like if you've watched Raised by Wolves.
I've watched some of it.
It's kind of dark like Raised by Wolves with a little less weird. What's that alien guy? Alien movie guy.
Ridley
Ridley,
Scott.
yeah. Less Ridley Scott weird dark stuff, but still sci-fi.
Okay.
Let's say competing colony ships, less Ridley Scott.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that's it. That's it. I talked about board games for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you did.
Jesus.
Way to pull an Adrian.
Oh, fuck.
Which I'm now going to do because I'm going to talk about the games I played. I'll try to move through them and not put Zach to sleep.
I played new games.
I played... Well, okay, I didn't play new game. I played a new game.
Okay.
There's a new game in here.
You played my new game.
I played your new game.
Yes.
So first game I'm talking about. So I have been doing a regular go to game night early to play a heavy game thing. Done a lot of that with Mike Jones and Megan when she's off of work. And so we did that 2 weeks ago at Strange. And we went early, and Mike Jones brought a friend whose name I am forgetting because I'm a terrible person. And we played Great Zimbabwe. Megan had never played Great Zimbabwe.
Fuck founders of Gloomhaven.
Megan's, yeah, correct. Completely negates the need to ever play Founders of Gloomhaven if you have Great Zimbabwe. Mike Jones' friend hadn't played. Mike Jones had played once, and that was like his game where he's like, holy shit, I think I like Splotters. And now that he's played that and Indonesia, I think I've converted him, which is awesome. But so we played
Matthew.
There you go. Thank you, Mike Jones.
No, I knew it.
Yeah. So we played Great Zimbabwe. I thought I was doing okay. I definitely didn't feel like I was doing great. I thought Megan was doing really bad to the point where I was almost like, she's not going to have a lot of fun. She's not having fun. This is going to suck for her because she's doing real bad. And then like 2 turns after I had that thought, she was like, and I win. Like she just did an epic big turn and was like, I win.
And fuck everyone but me.
Yeah. One of the coolest things about Great Zimbabwe.
That'll be how Twilight Imperium 8-player goes, right? Right, Zach?
But after like 12 hours, so
it'll really be like, fuck
it'll probably be like more like 18.
I don't know. Somebody might be drunk enough by then to really make a big deal about it.
I'm planning on being blackout by the end of that one. So
great. Anyway, the cool thing about Great Zimbabwe that I really like about it is it's got a mechanism in it where you can take craftsman cards and you can take like 1 god per game that gives you like special abilities. But whichever ones you take, they have a victory point cost associated with it. So at the start of the game, it's a race to 20 points. But if you take like a really good craftsman that gives you a really cool ability, it might add like 7 to your score. And then if like when you research a tech, like only 2 of each type of tech can go there.
It's a race to 20 plus
whatever you've accumulated. Yeah. So like you have 2 tracks, you have 2 tokens on the score track. One that is your goal and one that is your current points. So like for the entire game, even Megan winning, I had more points. I had just shot my goal almost all the way to the end of the track.
Just kept moving that goalpost, man.
Correct.
Sometimes you shoot real far.
Yeah.
You never know.
And it always seems to come at the worst times. Jeff's face. I don't know which face was funnier. Jeff trying not to laugh in the mics, or Zach's just stone dead face there for a second.
Just pure disappointment is what it is.
He's yet again going, why do I do this? Week in and week out, why do I do this? So that was Great Zimbabwe.
We're adults. We're almost 40. Most of us are. Zach's not almost 40, but
he's
I'm closer to 40 than like 20.
That's true. That's true. Like all of us.
Anyhow, Great Zimbabwe is a lot of fun. Megan pulled out a pretty awesome victory on there. Then I played at both game nights. I played Stockpile. At the Strange game night, I taught Stockpile to a bunch of new people. And I then proceeded to play the single worst game of Stockpile that I've ever played.
I was there, and I witnessed the scoring.
The worst, has it you did the worst, or everybody did the worst?
No, I did. Like, okay. I personally. So he
was practically like 5K. Like,
so I got crazy. It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. I did not break 100K.
I've had
but you also didn't break like 70K.
I don't remember. I should have written them down. Everybody else broke 100, and I was not close. Like I think you could have doubled my score, and I still would have been in last. Like right out of the gate, you get a random stock at the start of the game, and then like the first stockpile I won was like 1 face up and 1 face down because I got super bid fucked. And the face down ended up being the same one as the one I had gotten dealt. And I was like, sweet, I got 2 already. Well, then somebody on theirs got 2 stock crashes. It was like stock crash. Oh yeah, by the way, it's going down 2 more.
Yeah.
And
so like just went down 4.
Like, so I just lost it crashed on me like right away.
What was it?
I don't remember. Epic Electric or something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't one of the ones
it wasn't the computer.
It wasn't computer.
Yeah.
No. So then in the game last Wednesday,
It's not the bank because the bank's always solid.
Dude, the bank was so good
I tell
that
you,
like
it's
Megan
friggin-
made
yeah.
it her goal to ruin it, and even then, it still did really good. And so I redeemed myself last week at Game Lounge, and I won pretty solidly. In that
Totally
stockpile.
redeemed yourself.
Continue to just really like Stockpile. It's a great game.
Great game.
It is
Did you-
fantastic game.
How much of the expansions did you play with?
Dice?
So I always play with the dice.
Oh, yeah. You never not
like
play with
so
them.
the dice should have been in the base game.
Expert board. Advanced
Expert
board?
also should just be the base game.
Yeah.
I play with the first player card.
Okay.
I like that one, and then I also always play with the bonds, and the investment guys, like the custom
Personal
person.
player
Investors,
powers.
Yeah. I need to play again with commodities. It's been so long. I remember being kind of meh on it, and so that I've never taken the time to relearn how
Bonds
to do
are really going to
commodities.
help increase that, like the total amount of money that people are going to have.
Oh,
So,
yeah, for sure.
As because especially when I'm playing with new people, I don't use that one just because I do find it funny that it's just like, I mean, it's good there to help get that passive income. But then it's also just like, well, if you're over 25,000, then that excess money doesn't mean as much as it does with that.
Yeah.
So that's why I tend not to do it. Then also
I might start dropping it with new
Yeah.
players because also new players tend to not value it appropriately,
Exactly.
and so it does. I think
Yeah.
tend to help the experienced players,
Mhm.
which definitely contributed to me winning
Yeah.
at Game Lounge. Like nobody else was buying bonds. I was like, you
Mhm.
guys see me constantly buying bonds, right?
Yeah.
I was also Bernie in that game for my investor. He's one of my favorites. Like, all right, who has the most money that isn't me? All right, give me $2,000, please. Who has the least money? Here, you get 1,000. I'm going to keep the rest. Love that ability. It's a lot of fun. So,
Stockpile.
Yeah.
Great game. Great game.
then I played a 2-player game of Cascadia with Megan. Jeff had brought it to Game Lounge and kind of briefly showed it.
Played a prototype at PAX Unplugged 2019 when I went to work for Z-Man and Fantasy Flight Games.
Yeah.
And then I saw it on
so-
Kickstarter and I was like, I remember enjoying that game.
I definitely wish I had backed it. It's good. It's a really quick little 2-player tile laying
I don't
game.
think there will be really any difference between any retail versus
Well,
Kickstarter.
probably not.
I think there were some scorecards.
Yeah,
that
it
were
looked like
Kickstarter
you
exclusive.
had a little sheaf of
Yeah.
separate ones.
Yeah.
It's really quick to learn. Like you can just kind of glance at the rule book and learn it. But there is in a very small box early in the rules that tell you how to play, because we were just like looked up how do you play, and it was like, okay, each turn you draft a tile and an associated animal, and then you put them on your thing, and you're trying to, based on the scorecards, do those things. Cool. And we're playing, and Megan's like, do you have to like match the terrains? Like, can you just kind of mix and match? And I was like, it didn't say anything about that and how to play. Then at the end of the game, we get to end the game scoring, and it's like, largest, which one of you had the largest, prairie
one
or
type of
mountain
terrain.
or water or whatever. And she was like, so it does matter. And I was like, I guess so. Like, that's weird that like it didn't say that. Then she went back through the rulebook and looked, and there's a little small like box that almost looks like it'd be like flavor text that is like, when you're building your board, you pay attention to the end game scoring for largest contiguous regions and things.
So you don't
and, like,
have to, but you get
yeah,
points if
I
you
think
do.
because I think it says like it may be worth points, and it's like no, it will be worth points. Like
Mhm.
it's going to matter.
Yeah.
But we liked it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because
And it
each
played
tile
so fast.
Yeah, it's fast. It gets a little fiddly with filling up the places that you bid from because you're doing it every single
Constant. Yeah.
It's pretty constant. And that was the only criticism I had the game when I did the prototype thing. It was like, it's a little fiddly. It would be nice if there was like a tray that you had like 4 stacks that you could just kind of pull from.
I mean, it would be easy to set it up that way. Just
Yeah,
divide it
yeah,
into
yeah.
4 equal stacks or
Exactly.
something.
But it would be nice if there was like some hard plastic thing that did
Sure.
it. But like the certain terrain is like multi-use because like if it has a river on there, you can put the salmon on there, or if
Mhm.
it has the plains on there, you can put the
And then some of them can only hold one specific type of animal. So it's always a trick. And like some of those that can only hold one, if you place that animal on them, you get like an acorn, which you can use for special abilities, or it's a point at the end of the game.
And I want to say the acorns were something that were added later
Okay.
from the prototype. I don't really remember the acorn thing.
They're
but
pretty great.
Yeah.
They give some pretty cool abilities. And
Yeah.
it's definitely like, because they are worth a point, it does add a little bit like, well, is it worth it to use this for its ability? Like, is that going to really get me more points? Which I think typically it probably does.
Yeah.
But
it's just, tile matching and then putting the animal type on there based on whatever the score thing is. And then there's a variety of different score things.
Because there's one scorecard. You play with one scorecard per animal, and there's 5 animals. But then there's like 4, I think, in the base game scorecards for each animal that you can mix and match. They're like, your first game play with just the A cards, which we did.
I remember playing one with bears that was like, you want a bear that is in a group of 1, a bear that's in a group of 2, a bear that's in a group of 3, a bear that's in a group of 4, and you get like an exponential amount of points.
Ours were pairs of bears.
Bears.
If you have 1 pair, you get 1 point. If you have 2 pairs, you get 3. Yeah. I mean, it escalated rapidly. That was one of the highest scoring cards.
In
our game.
Yeah.
So I really liked it.
It's a neat, light little drafting. It's just draft. And it looks good.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind trying to play it with more players and see like what that does for mixing things up a bit.
$35.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
And
that's why I was like, back it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to buy it. I think it'd be a great one for like some of Megan's family and stuff who like the little more nature and like the fairly light to mid-weight games. So yeah. And then I played City of Spies with Zach and Wes and Megan. And it was fine. Taylor did a really good job when we played with her in Washington of like super hyping up the shit talking of like what you're doing with your spies, which I think our game lacked a little bit, which I was surprised based on the group that we had. There was a little bit of it, but not too much.
Well, how many people did you play with?
3.
With her? Okay. When we had it with 4, 1, I think like it wasn't evident that you like that like the shit talking was there, I guess.
Yeah.
But then also, I don't know, it felt like with the 4 people, like we just weren't putting out enough that it was just like, I'm going to try and lock this one down and that. Like you were only caring enough about like establishing your own foothold versus trying to fuck with other people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm curious, because I played it at 3 and 4, and it's just a difference of 1 spy, but like the difference between placing 4 spies versus 3 spies does feel pretty solid. And like, but also in a 3-player game, like it's the same number of like location tiles. So it's 1 less person competing over there. So it's a little bit easier to isolate. Like some people, like there's one round where Megan won like 2 uncontested tiles.
Right.
So.
Well, that's because technically 3 people because there's 6 tiles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody could win 2 uncontested if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, well, I was talking about in our 4-player game.
Yeah.
There's one time where she won 2 tiles.
Yeah. And there was one I was going to win 3, and then you were unjustly rude to me so that I couldn't win 3.
May have happened. So yeah, we'll be streaming that at some point. Probably not this Friday because y'all are going to be up at CabinCon.
Yes.
So that's all I played. Zach, what about you? What have you played that you haven't talked about yet with all of the campaigns that happened?
I played Star Wars Outer Rims. I still enjoy that game, but I feel like there's still just something missing there to fully engage me. That I feel like there's enough downtime that I just don't. I mean, it's not fully clicking with the stuff because I mean, a lot of it is like you're going around trying to deliver things, but it always feels like a majority of the game feels like it's like, I just do this, like, oh, I move and I try and buy something and then I read a card and then it's somebody else's turn. I don't like, which you can, a lot of games that we play can be reduced down to that.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's not engaging me. It's not pulling me in as much as I would like for that.
Speaking of downtime, Clank Legacy has some downtime to it, but it's like the perfect amount of downtime.
Oh yeah.
Like the perfect amount of game night downtime where other people can make things happen while you go get a beer and the game continues. Like I was a big fan of being able to just be like, okay, my turn's done. I'm going to go to the bathroom and everything else really has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It seems like that'd be awful in any non-game night setting, though.
It was very convenient in that level.
Well, and I think it would go quicker if we weren't.
And if you weren't a game night,
enough.
you would be able to just kind of pow, 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 pow. But in the game night, it's like you have just enough time to do what you need to do without making the game go longer because that's just how long the game is going.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next, I played at Strange. I played a game of Ponzi Scheme. I attempted to play a game of Ponzi scheme.
Speaking of the worst games of a financial crimes game happening at Strange.
Yeah, I was
What
just
happened?
what happened was I was just I was too engaged with people trading with me, not thinking I had enough money. And every time I did have enough money for that trade, and then after the last trade, when I had like 7 or 8 properties, it was like, yeah. And then I looked down and I saw that I had $2, and like this was right after I handed. It was to Wes. At least I think it was Wes. It was whoever was to my right. Like I handed to them, and then I and this is 100% true. I then looked down at my tracker and realized, oh shit, I actually have to pay shit on this next round.
Oh fuck, I need money.
I need an amount of money, and I needed $22, and I didn't have it. And so literally the first time I tried to pay my interest, I went bankrupt. So the game went real quick.
Yeah.
So
you got to that dial once.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, it's over.
It's over. Yeah. So I really enjoy the game, but I felt a little bad because I was like, oh, they didn't actually get to experience that pressure.
Stress.
The stress. What they saw was me immediately crumble.
just like somebody like on the starting blocks of a marathon just trip.
Yep.
Right.
It's just like, and let's go.
And my Olympic hopes are over.
I tap. I'm out.
I'm out.
We just started. I don't care. This is the worst. And then the last game I played was also strange, and it was Alien Fate of the Nostromo.
Yes.
So this is a new game by Ravensburger, who did
Jaws fame.
Jaws fame.
That's who I know. That's the only game of theirs I am aware of.
Yeah. So after playing that one, I was like, oh, here's another one that seems to be getting decent reviews.
Movie themed licensed board
game that also costs like $30.
Cheap.
So it's
cheap enough.
Cheap enough. So I bought it. I would describe it as store brand Nemesis. As in it's cheap, like it's cheaper.
Yeah,
it's not as good quality, but it's like
it's like
your giant
Mr. Fizz of Dr. Pepper.
It's your giant bag of cereal brand.
Yeah.
Tasty O's instead of Cheerios.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Your bulk.
Yeah.
Your bulk Cheerio bag brand.
So it's
Nemesis.
It's a cooperative game. Nobody has any. So
no semi-cooperative.
You're going around the ship. You're trying to collect or complete these objectives that like they could be anywhere from just everyone has to go to the med bay to like bring these canisters to the spot or drop certain things in some other places.
Because there's material. It's scrap and canisters.
There's scrap, and then there's canisters, and then there's equipment that you can make. Okay. But then there's also an alien who's running around, and on your turn you take an amount of actions equal to what it says on your card because everybody has unique abilities. Like Paul was Dallas, his ability was that he had 5 actions on his turn, whereas everybody else had 4 or even 3. So my ability was I was Ripley. I can move other people on my turn, so I could help. Like
radio operator.
Yeah, radio operator. Although she was warrant officer, but
she was.
Yeah, but yeah, I was basically just moving other people around. So a lot of my turns was just here. I'm going to help other people get doing the shit they need to. But after each person's turn, you draw an encounter card, and it tells you like the alien is, moving ever closer to people, and then you're laying down scrap, and you use scrap to like build stuff, or you have it for certain objectives.
Flamethrowers.
Yeah, exactly. Cat carriers and
motion detectors.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Harpoon guns.
Even though was there a motion detector? I haven't seen the first movie in a long time.
In the first movie,
there was.
Yeah.
Okay. Dallas had it.
I distinctly remember it. I distinctly remember it from the second movie.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But those were usually attached to guns.
Yes. But one of the main things is that when you like the alien is moving around, and whenever he gets to you, you take an amount of morale hit.
And morale is your resource, your like turn timer.
It's your health, basically.
Okay.
Like 'cause it doesn't attack
collective
you.
Health.
Collective health. It scares you, and the game even says if your morale ever goes down to 0, you basically just give up and cease to function.
Then
is how it words it. So
then the alien movie starts, and that's where it starts killing people.
Yeah,
sure.
Because no one can die.
No one can die.
Okay.
Oh
yeah, so it's all the early.
There's no player elimination.
It's
in this
all
game.
the first
Yeah.
act of the Alien movies when the alien is doing things in the background and people are starting to notice that shit's awry.
Well, I mean, technically, one character dies as soon as we realize that it's big. Like the first time that you see that it's big is when it's killing somebody. So
In the movies or in the game?
in the movie,
Yeah, well, yeah.
yeah. So it's even before that, but it's like you it takes place in that movie, but it's not trying to be the
and
movie.
there's different objectives.
Yeah.
There's
So-
different game.
Well, there's not only there different objectives, but there are after you do however many objectives you need to, there's a final mission that gets drawn at random, and there's like 5 or 6 of them. They're all very different.
Yeah, so it's not just like get to the escape pod.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
fucking punch
Ours
out.
didn't care about that at all.
You wanted to kill the alien in yours, right?
Not only did we want to kill it, but to make the game
incinerate it.
you want to incinerate it, but then also we wanted to destroy Ash, who doesn't always show up in the game.
Okay,
So
that's your synth buddy.
yes, and so
Spoilers for Alien the movie
yeah.
Yeah.
from 1976.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a spoiler that he's a synth in the movie. He's one right out the gate. Oh, no, I don't think he
No,
is. You
he's
don't
not.
know.
You
It's
don't
know.
not like in Aliens where
Yeah, where
everybody's like,
you know
oh, Bishop's a
Bishop is-
fucking
yeah.
That's
synth.
just a thing. Yeah.
That doesn't sound right, Mike Jones. I don't know what you're talking about.
A guy dies when it bursts out of his chest.
That is, I don't know. I don't remember seeing a xenomorph ever bursting out of
Is that
somebody's chest.
character still William Hurt?
Yeah, he's not.
He is not a character in the game.
It states that he's the only character that has died.
Okay.
So, but it was all right.
Fun
Yeah,
fact. Spaceballs.
they got him. Yeah,
That's him.
That's him.
That's actually William Hurt
yeah.
doing it again.
No, and
he's like, that's why he's like, not
Not
again,
again,
because that's
yeah.
William Hurt actually doing it again
Yeah.
in Spaceballs.
That's awesome.
It
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Get this man some Pepto-Bismol.
But
Fuck water. Get this man some Pepto-Bismol.
The game was enjoyable. I think if it was more than $30, then I'd be like, but it worked.
Okay.
And it worked for game night. Like
It's not super long.
it's not super long. I think
Decent
playing it with
components, it seemed like.
yeah, we played with 5 people. Might be too much. Maybe just do 3 or 4 next time to see what happens there.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's basically all I've done that I care to talk about.
Cool. Well,
That's an hour.
that's an hour of
No. Sorry. 50
53
minutes.
yeah.
50 minutes. We had a 10-minute engagement period
People are super engaged.
and then 50 minutes of board games.
And
Yeah.
it's not even done yet, is it? Because we go right into a bloody minute.
Bloody minute happens after.
After.
Oh, it does happen after.
Don't you confuse me with your
Yeah.
bullshit.
Both of you guys keep getting it. God damn. You keep
It's-
I got it
it's
right
'cause
this
he-
time.
It's because
You guys-
this
no,
guy. This guy.
It's always
fucked me up
one of
last
you.
time.
It's always one of you, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Jesus.
And it was you.
All right. Well, we're into some banter. I don't have a lot of banter because my life's been fucking boring because we had our floors replaced. So that's why
Gotcha.
we didn't stream 2 Fridays ago, because we had just pulled everything out of the basement in preparation of them coming.
There is quite nothing in your basement.
Yeah, and there is quite a lot of stuff in the dining room. You can't not access the table. It's just not possible. So we skipped that Friday, and then like starting that Monday, they were here. We had people come and take off all the old baseboards and remove all the appliances and like the toilet and the sink, and then we had the new floor put in over 2 days, and then we had the new baseboards put in and had the toilet and everything replaced. Although I'm gonna have to call them back because the guy, he put the toilet and the sink back in, and they both fucking leak now. So it's like,
Fantastic.
dude, they didn't fucking leak before.
Now they
Like,
do.
So come fucking fix our shit. Little upset about it. But yeah, and so now we're painting. So we still like, even though the
Getting rid
floors
of
are
all
done,
of the ochre and blue.
yeah,
Just going to white.
No, so we're putting base coats on right now. So that's what that white is. That's
okay.
a base coat.
Okay.
The wall that the TV used to be on, I think you guys both know that wall
Yes.
vaguely.
Yes.
That wall is going to be like a kind of a slate gray. And then
Ooh.
and then
A gray sear.
and then we're gonna do
That's the-
something split level.
That's the Games Workshop paint color that I'm thinking of in my brain.
Oh, maybe. And then where that little ridge runs along, we're gonna do like one color on top and one on the bottom. And yeah, Megan wants to do more white than I want to do for some of that. we're definitely having that like couple thing where she's like, well, which shade of white do you want? And it's like,
White?
those are both white.
those
are
are
both fucking
those,
white.
Those are white.
That's white, and then that's white. And then
It's just what's the underside of my forearm look like? White or white?
I did learn so, like that's like such a weird, stupid meme thing, right? Like, like, oh, it's this one's eggshell white. I learned in all of this painting stuff, eggshell is a like texture type for paint.
Oh.
So it's not a shade of white. Like an eggshell white is more like the glossiness of it. So like there's like matte,
a little more
eggshell, semi-gloss, gloss, and then like high sheen or something.
Ooh.
Should have gotten a high sheen.
No.
You turn on one light and it's just ping everywhere.
Good God, no.
Jester just yelps and run out of
That
the room.
seems like a great place to watch a movie.
Yeah,
watch a movie. Yeah. Yeah, like that's the whole thing. Like, I wanted like a lot of darker colors because I was like, that's our like movie room. Like we want that nice and dark and theater like. And Megan's like, it's so dark, and I want it to feel like a dungeon. I was like, that's the point.
Where else are we going to be watching?
A dungeon would be a great place to watch a movie. I don't know.
Dungeon.
So, but ultimately, she actually cares more than I do. Like I don't really like a lot of the things she'd be like, so what do you think about these? And I was like, I guess that one. She's like, you don't really care, do you? I was like, no, I picked because you wanted me to.
I have played your game.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna finish up that painting and then move everything down.
Well, the flooring looks great.
Thank you.
I went
happy
pee
with
down
the
there,
floor.
not on the flooring.
I would hope not. Other than that, I think I haven't talked about it since the last time we recorded. I am going to be going to Costa Rica for my job.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks to Costa Rica.
Sending me 2 weeks to go train the people who are taking my job.
What's your What's your hours going to be there?
I have no fucking clue.
Okay, it's going to be like 24/7. You're training these fucking people.
Yeah.
Or are you going to get some Costa Rica time in?
I think I'll get some Costa Rica time.
Okay.
And
don't get dengue fever.
I will almost
like some friends in North Carolina when they went down there did.
Yeah.
It was not good from everything
I've the recommended vaccinations because I wouldn't be surprised if dengue is on one.
Pretty sure there's not a vaccine for dengue. It's kind of one of those.
I know a lot of those weird ones. Like the last time when I went to Guatemala, I think I had to get yellow fever vaccine.
Yes, dengue, little different, I think.
I don't know.
I had a friend back when I was in North Carolina. He was doing some research on dengue to help create something like that.
Ah.
But
are you sure he wasn't doing research on the American band dengue fever?
Christ.
He could have if MIT was funding that, but there's no way to know.
They're from the 60s and 70s with psychedelic rock and other world music styles. So
anyway,
if you want to get ripped on dengue,
so I don't know what my hours are going to be. I don't know what my pay structure is going to be while I'm there.
And if you weren't aware, dengue, aka bone break fever.
Oh yeah, no, I'm well aware.
Okay,
it's not good.
Well, don't get that.
I will try not to.
So it looks like there's a vaccine that's licensed and available, but they recommend that the vaccine only be given to people with confirmed previous dengue virus infection.
That's right. Your first time,
again,
you're probably okay. Your second time, it almost certainly will fuck you up.
Yes.
To death.
Fuck you to death.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
those mosquitoes will fuck you to death.
Dude, mosquitoes are the worst. I'm not sure what my hour structure is going to be while I'm there. The one things I did learn is they're going to put me up in a hotel for the 2 weeks. I'll be staying in a hotel. No, not a big surprise there.
Woo.
All of my food I get to expense.
Woo.
And
per
I
diem.
get a $50 diem. Per
Ooh,
diem.
Oh, and
yeah, so I get to expense all of my food, and then I get a per diem.
American dollar per
$50
diem?
American dollar per
that
day.
Could probably
per
get
diem.
you a lot of bar nights in Costa Rica.
There's
to be
apparently
fair.
a casino pretty close by, so I might go gamble away in a Costa Rican casino. So if you never see me again,
I'm just pumping money into the Costa Rican economy.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
Yeah. This is where we're building our new factory. We got to put money into the community, right?
Exactly.
This casino community, probably owned by an American.
Probably.
Or not Costa Rican.
Almost certainly not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so looking forward to that. If nothing else, it'll look really good on a resume. And even if I stay at my current company, like
gambling
like
in a Costa Rican casino.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually what I'm going to put on the company dime.
Exactly.
I used my per diem to go gambling.
Yeah. Good.
No, and even
you
if I
always hit. You played horribly in there. You're like, I always bet on the 00, put all my money on there.
And I always split sixes.
It's always split sixes.
Always. God,
I
damn.
think that is the worst.
I doubled down on two aces.
Is that is it double down? Is that what it's called? Double down on sixes?
No, I think it's
is that
the
where they
split.
split?
I think
split.
it's
Yeah, I think split sixes is the worst move you can possibly make in blackjack.
that sounds right.
Yeah. So much so that they call it out to the pit boss because they think you're counting cards because no one in their right mind would fucking do it. I want to say I learned that at some point, but I know nothing about blackjack, nor have I ever played it in casino.
It's
I've
fun.
played in a casino. It's fine.
It's a fun way to lose money.
Yeah.
Like all casinos.
I was playing at a table one time. This is now going to be a part of my banter, and then I'm going to be done. I was playing at a casino in Vegas with some friends, and like there was some guy sitting next to us who kept like looking down, like, you know, into his lap, and like we could see from where we were sitting, like he had like a little one of those like cheat cards, like, you know, when it's this number hit, when it's this number raise, and like the pit boss guy was like, you can just put that on the table. You don't have to try to be like sneaky. And the guy was like, oh shit, like you know what I'm doing. And he's like, yeah, like that's fine. We don't care if you have a reference for what you should do on certain numbers, because if you need that, you clearly aren't counting cards. You don't know what you're doing, so fine. Yeah. Get that little bit of an edge of knowing when to hit and when to stay.
This is just practically watching a YouTube video while playing blackjack.
Yeah.
You know what? You just do you, because we're gonna be fine.
Honestly, I legitimately thought for a second that you were talking about a thing of like when counting cards, you should hit like you should do not literally just on a a 17. You should stay.
It was very much just like they sell them at like the airport in Vegas, like these little like wallet cards of like, here's your idiot's guide to fucking blackjack.
I like
now, the real question.
Just do the card and also be counting cards.
Yeah, boom.
They'll never know.
Yeah. Now, obviously, that guy sat right before the dealer.
I don't remember where he was sitting. But yeah, so that's my Vegas blackjack story. And I'm going to be done with banter because there's nothing else exciting that I can think of until you guys start talking about movies, and then I'll jump back in.
Then you interrupt us and then go tangent somewhere else.
I went and watched Free Guy with you guys. We're going to talk about that at some point, I'm sure.
Right now.
Well, not with Jeff.
Right now. I saw Free Guy. I didn't see it with you. We have all seen Free Guy. Free Guy I like a lot. Free Guy was a comedy. It was a Deadpool-esque of the PG-13. It was video game related. It was still as weird and random. A little more heart, I guess.
A little bit more heart, yeah.
A less exposed heart.
Yeah,
for sure.
I thought the ending, like in regards to that, worked better than I was expecting it to. Mm-hmm. But no, I enjoyed it. I felt like it sort of sagged a bit in the middle. But I felt like the third act was a lot stronger than I would have expected a movie like that to be.
The zillion cameos were fantastic. Yeah. I was like, is that Hugh Jackman's voice? Yes, it was.
Yeah, so
wait,
the big guy that she's talking to with the mask in the dark beginning. Alley
that was
Hugh Jackman. Yeah, I was like, oh, Ryan Reynolds got Hugh Jackman for his movie, didn't he?
Yeah,
and it totally was.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Those two have a weird bromance. It's great.
The Quiet Place guy, Krasinski, he was a voice in there.
He was?
I was waiting for the cast like voiceover, and I was like, boom, 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 like just like A-list. Like he got a ton.
My favorite was because I don't want to spoil anything.
There was one near
There's
the end.
One towards the end that is the whole sequence is perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the one at the end is like got the biggest reaction in the theater by far.
Same. Both times I saw
it's
it.
Like, what the fuck?
So what the shit?
What the shit? Because they already used their fuck.
They used the fuck earlier.
Yeah, they used the fuck earlier.
It's PG-13. You can only say it once in a non-sexual.
I would have given it to that last guy.
Yes.
I think that would have been
it would have been great.
But the other one was also the other fuck was also very good.
I don't remember what the other fuck was.
Good fucking morning.
Yeah,
Goldie.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum was in the movie, and I was just like, "Is that Channing Tatum?" Yep, that sure is.
Well, I like because I saw him in the opening sequence, and I was like, okay, Channing Tatum. That's
Channing
that's
Tatum
a
got
thing.
better
and
later.
Then when he came back, I was like, oh, he's back.
There was a lot of that. That's like, is that blank? Yes. Oh, awesome. And then you just kind of keep getting it, and it's great.
My main problem with the movie though was just like I like Taika Waititi. And I liked watching him solely because of it being him.
Yes.
Like the character himself playing. I
Yeah.
didn't have any.
Yeah, because it was another like grandma's boy-esque, like
I mean, it's just yeah.
video game CEO, like eccentric, weird asshole.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen it a bunch.
It's like, oh yeah, it's like, all right, let's say our like, what did he call it? Where he was like, all right, 1, 2, 3.
You're like, get back to work.
Fucking
work.
get
Yeah.
back to
do
work.
You think we're a team and we need to have a catchphrase?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
all right, let's
Yeah.
just yell at our catchphrase.
Yeah.
It's like 1, 2, 3. Get back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it wasn't Taika Waititi, it wouldn't have played nearly as well.
Taika Waititi in that role could have practically just been Hitler from Jojo Rabbit. Like 1 to 1. Like it was that same energy of just like he could play any character in that same type.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, different scales, I guess you could call it. But it was definitely that same like, oh, you're very, what's a good word for it? Like,
I have no idea where you're going.
not
Typecast?
like not a very realistic representation of what cartoonish.
Okay.
Like very like
Characterized.
Yeah.
It wasn't
like,
grounded at all.
No. Yeah. Like very like funny to like an absurd level of like that type of character.
Sure.
And I was like, he could just be playing Hitler. Like just put on the costume and you could practically see him being that same type of like acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The computer coder guy, not the main
from
guy.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things
Oh,
kid.
the
His
other
buddy.
Oh, okay.
With the rabbit suit.
Yes.
So he was in Pitch Perfect, and maybe in some of the later ones. He's one of the guy crew, and his nickname in that is also Rabbit.
Oh, okay.
So that must be something of his.
Gotcha.
I liked their little costume like
That was good.
police thing
Yeah.
that was going on.
Yeah.
He had the Stranger Things guy had the mustache.
He's like, I'm gonna
on.
go basic cop, you know, with the big old mustache. He called it
Yeah.
something. He's like, I'm gonna do that, but from head to toe.
Yeah.
And bright pink.
Yeah. Free Guy, good.
It was good.
Yeah, fun.
Definitely don't worry too much about like the tech or the lingo. Like it's another one of those they play fast and loose with video games.
'Cause you have to.
Yeah, like
Because once you get down that rabbit hole, then once you start caring about it a little bit, you have to care about it a lot, and then it just gets not interesting.
Yeah.
So
this was fun. It was fun. It was fun. It was funny. I laughed a lot. It's been hard to laugh at a movie in a long time because they don't make fucking comedies anymore.
No.
That and
Especially not that
Suicide
kind of
Squad.
And not good comedies, at least.
No, that and Suicide Squad were two good, like back-to-back ones to watch that were
Very
real funny.
funny movies.
The first time I watched Free Guy was just with Megan, and she laughed way more than I expected. Like she saw the trailer, and she's like, "Yeah, that looks fun enough. I'll go see it." And then she laughed her ass off. She thought it was great, and I enjoyed it enough that I went and saw it again later with Paul and Zach. So, it's good.
Pivoting off of that,
Pivot.
Did we talk about Suicide Squad, or did we see that after our last episode?
I think
our
we
last
did.
episode?
I think we did. Like,
I don't
I think it
remember.
was weeks ago.
It's two.
Yeah,
Has
we've
it
definitely
been?
talked about the Suicide Squad.
It's if we didn't talk
Either
about
way,
it, it's real good.
it's very good.
We'll just say it's real good.
Yeah.
But Taika also has a show that he's co-producing that just came out called Reservation Dogs on Hulu that I just want to keep promoting because it's been really enjoyable. It's about 4 native teens in a like an Oklahoma reservation, and it's just think of it something akin like the kind of just like in the life of like. Did you ever watch Louie or anything like that?
Yes, I did watch
I didn't
Louie.
watch
It's something
Louie.
like that where it's just like there's just the very slight-ish absurdity on some things, but it just seems like it's a whole bunch of just like realistic shit that happens during that time, like in that area, and it's been really enjoyable. And
Yeah, it's only a couple episodes.
I've
right?
seen a
it's
trailer
the
so far.
4th episode I think just came out.
Looked
So
good.
yeah,
And then What We Do in the Shadows is about to start.
it's gonna start
three?
season 3
soon.
Yeah,
Dude's fucking everywhere.
I watched the 2 episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks are out. That's kind of like the animated sort of.
Okay.
And it's like I think they pitched it on Rick and Morty, and then they're like, "Haha! I'm actually going to make a good Star Trek show." And I have been very much enjoying season 2.
nice.
I'm doing a T-shirt club like I did for the Venture Brothers seasons because it's Titmouse, same people that did. Yeah, they're doing a movie. All right, it's gonna be okay.
I know.
But they did a T-shirt club that I will be getting a T-shirt per episode as well, which is super cool. Lower Decks, best Star Trek there's been out of all the new Star Trek. What If is 2 episodes in. What
It
If is
is?
very, very
haven't
good.
gotta watch it yet.
The second one is very, very good. The first one is
good.
good.
It is good to real good. Parts real good, but then this one,
Yeah, it was.
the second one was much more what I wanted from a What If.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not just like, let's do this movie, but this other character is the main character.
yeah,
Sure.
Or this other one is like, let's change some shit.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense in the context,
And it's nice because it's not just like some fan thing. They get the people that do the thing to do the voices, which they didn't get in the first one.
No, the vast majority. They get the vast majority, but
They got the cheap people.
Well, what I mean,
and the people they already had.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is like Tony Stark. He's not going to be voiced by Tony. He's not going to be voiced by.
Howard Stark.
RDJ.
I know. I'm just at some point later, like in the trailer, you see that there's a Tony Stark. It's not voiced by
Robert
Downey Jr. because they don't have the
Chris Evans.
Probably like $30 million that he would charge.
Chris
for that
Evans
shit.
is not.
Yes,
voicing.
Chris Evans is not voicing
he's
it.
not.
No. A couple of those big ones are not, but but they have a lot of people that do. So like this was also Chadwick
Bucky's guy.
Boseman's last.
his last thing in there. But Sebastian Stan.
He did Bucky in that.
Yes, he did.
Because he was already doing Bucky in the other thing, so they could probably just get him to do that.
Just drop by and give us some lines.
Yeah.
But you can also tell some people aren't as great voice actors as they are actual actors because it's two different things. So
it is very much two different things.
Yeah.
Video game wise, I played the entirety of 12 Minutes, which is a Groundhog Day repeating loop game. It's on Game Pass. It's on pretty much every Microsoft platform and PC. It is about a couple whose house is being invaded by a man, and you going through a time loop of trying to stop that. And it has been the most fucked thing I have played in many, many, many years.
That makes me want to not
in
play
good
it.
or a bad way,
Or in a
fucked way.
In a fucked way. Like, it is totally about like what your relationships are. Like, if you have like a significant other that you super care about, this is super not a game for you.
Oh, great.
Because you're going through terrible things with that person. Or like me, who doesn't have like a super significant other, and it's still horrible. Like, but it's also like Willem Dafoe, Daisy Ridley, and James McAvoy doing the voices for the characters. So
Really?
it's all very well done, but it's fucked. It is the most fucked thing I have played in so long, and I don't want to spoil any of it, but boy, holy fuck. It's like Groundhog's Day in the most darkest way you could do it.
Damn.
Yeah, like
See,
like this guy that's like a cop, and he's like, I have a warrant, kicking in your door, putting you in plastic cuffs, and like, yeah, and you're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and it just gets darker and darker and darker.
See, like you had me like both weirdly intrigued and oddly repulsed.
It goes some fucking places.
Because I can see how that could go places I don't want to go.
And you can make and the like the loops that actually like get you new information and go. There's only about 7 or 8. You can finish it in about 7 or 8 loops from start to finish. That's it. You've got kind of all the core material, but every interaction in the game you can kind of do anything. Like you get these mugs and you can fill it with water and you can throw the mug at him, or you can fucking stab him, or blank 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 blank. But like none of this like moves the story along, kind of thing. Like you can't leave the apartment without it instantly restarting the loop. You can't take a hard hit without it immediately restarting the loop. You can't die without it immediately restarting the loop. It's very Groundhog's Day, except very limited to this one little bathroom, bedroom, living room, studio apartment. Fuck that game. It's brutal, top to bottom.
Interesting.
William Dafoe, like Lighthouse levels of fucked.
Is he the intruder?
He is. William Dafoe is the intruder. Yes, the cop. It's boy, 12 minutes. It's on Game Pass. It's wow. I was just sitting in bed the other night, just thinking about the things you had to do in that game to get certain information out, and it's just ugh.
Jesus.
Yeah. Ugh. Like, oh, now I'm watching this happen in a game, and I don't feel good.
See, that makes me want to not play it. That seems like that's going places I don't want to go.
No, and it just it's man. I've
Okay.
been thinking about that game a lot, and it's boy, yeah.
I think people might get it. Is it boy? It's a boy.
Boy,
Boy, howdy.
Boy howdy.
boy, howdy does that game go places.
I started playing Astroneer again. It's
Yeah.
fine. I don't know. I played it a bunch a while ago, and playing it again, it's like, yeah, there's new stuff, but it's the same.
Yeah, I get that.
I started playing Egg Inc. Fucking,
It's an
bullshit.
idle app game.
Yep.
I don't know. That's all I can. I feel like there's something I'm missing that I've been playing like on the Xbox on my season pass, but I can't think of anything. I can't think of it.
I started playing It Takes Two with my friend, which is a lot of fun. That one
You are turned to puppets based on child tears of divorce.
correct. Yes.
And you have to
Yeah.
like get back to the house in your
You do.
puppet forms.
For one, the game is so much longer than I thought it was going to be.
Oh,
okay.
I think it's like 20 plus hours.
Yeah, unlike the fact that I'm like, we are still just in the third of like 6 chapters. Is like, Jesus Christ, it feels like we've been playing a while. So it's getting a lot of getting its money worth, which is good. 2, it's nice that it's the game they did before this, No Way Out, I think is what it was called.
Yep.
Yeah, that one also involved 2 protagonists that do different things.
It is 100% need to co-op the entire
Yes.
game. There is no solo.
Correct. It seemed
But different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played that one and I played an amount of it. I enjoyed
Okay.
it, but it seems like this one is
That one was like jailbreaky
Yeah.
sort of prison,
okay.
yeah,
prison
but
stuff.
this one it seems like a just refined version of that in terms of how they handle their co-op. Each different chapter you get your own unique abilities, which is real cool, which have been
okay.
real cool. And it's it takes place in a heightened reality that also gets real fucked in certain places. Obviously not 12 minutes fucked, but like I watched a vacuum suck its own eyes out of its with the fucking.
I heard
yeah.
the vacuum fight was a little fucked.
Yeah, it was like
Jesus.
I beat it. Like what sucked it? Like once you beat him, like you hop on his hose arms, and then you both slowly go to his eyes,
and
then
suck his own
press
eyes
him
out.
down, and it gets sucked down, and you kill him. Like, I was like, me and my friend
Oh
were playing
my
it, and
God.
we're like, what the fuck? And then we got drafted into a squirrel versus wasp war for
Okay,
a second
okay.
On
one.
the side of the squirrels, I would hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played Morktrid not too long ago. That's another like 2-player cooperative that was a lot of fun and had some weird fucking
I'm just gonna go pee while people
Okay.
talk about things.
Sure.
I don't know what that
I
game
think
is.
we're done.
Yeah, I think we're
Basically,
done.
but you can still go pee if you need to.
Okay.
That's right. Pause.
I'll pause.
We can just
and then
be-
you can just
we
keep
can just be kinda
continue banter.
Sure.
While I pee.
Sure.
Go for it.
I'm.
it's way closer.
Yeah. Too many chairs.
There's also like a table that's right there behind that curtain, so
Yeah.
the wall's actually 6 inches closer than it looks. I had to be at work at 4 a.m. today, so
Why?
I am super fucking tired. Because one of my coworkers, he does every Monday this like he's in 4 a.m. every Monday, and he does this setup on like one of the assembly lines, and I needed to learn how to do that to go teach the Costa Ricans how to do
Gotcha.
that. So that sucked.
Seems like it, yeah.
And like I went out, Megan and I had dinner plans with another couple last night that we'd had for I don't know a while, and so doing dinner and like I didn't want to cancel dinner because it's hard enough to do a couple things ever,
Yeah.
and then like the whole time like we're sitting there like after the meal, after dessert, after wine, and we're sitting there like talking and everything, and I just increasingly was like, I have to be awake in 5 hours. I need to go. I really need to go. So.
Gotcha.
It was really nice though. It was a great dinner. Really good to get to see friends and spend time with friends.
I bet, yeah.
So I just paid for it this morning. And then Jester has been sleeping in our room because the basement's all fucked.
Right.
And like not last night, but the night before, I was talking to Megan about like, oh, she's been doing so good. Like we put her bed in the corner and she's just laid on her bed. And like when my alarm goes off, she had started to wake up and then like would jump on the bed when my alarm would go off. And that's not too bad because I'm already like, my alarm has kind of jostled me awake. I'm definitely a snooze the alarm person, like 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, yeah, she's doing so good. Like if she keeps this up, we could probably like keep her up here, even after we finish the basement. Like, and then that, like, she's more of a guard dog up here, letting us know if someone's like coming into the house at night. Well, no sooner had I said that, but last night and the night before, she got on the bed like 3 times all through the middle of the night and disturbed both our sleep. And so I already was getting to bed later than I wanted to last night. And then she got on the bed and fucked with us like twice during the middle of the night and woke me up. And so I was just like, I was so tired.
Gotcha.
I'm so tired. I drank like a pot of coffee. So that I'm riding that currently.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I had something else. I can't remember. Nothing.
I don't know how loud this slap bracelet is. It doesn't sound loud in my headphones, but I wouldn't be surprised if like.
Oh yeah, that was super
that was
loud.
A good one. I'm gonna put that over there so I stop playing with it.
Yeah.
I also realized while you guys were talking about Jime stuff, like I do also have Jime. Like, right?
Yes, you do.
It's also a hefty,
I mean, it's
box.
It's the standard big box for Fantasy Flight.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. I feel like Mansions is even quite that big.
No, Mansions is about that big. Did you get Boyd's email?
I have not checked, but I assume that if he sent it, that we have it. Jeff's back.
Were we just chatting about cutting all news and for the rest of the episode?
I'm honestly fine with that.
I want us to end on a positive note, and most of our news is super negative. So.
Our news is super negative.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm like so far in my mic right now. I'm honestly fine with that. It is 8:30. I was just telling Zach while you were paying about how I was at work at 4 a.m. today, and so I am exhausted.
I think we've had a banger of an episode, and maybe we don't need to go into news and have a big downer of an episode.
Yeah. So the news, I'm sure most any of you have heard the news that kind of went through the board game industry. Yeah. It's not great.
Don't buy Broken Token stuff not anymore.
We'll talk about it next week a little bit more in depth, along with some other kind of just downer industry type news. Unfortunately, the Kickstarters won't be around next week because they're all like 8 to 10 days. But that's fine. No, I wasn't super passionate about any of them. I do feel bad now for pushing Dust Biters a couple weeks ago for you, Jeff, because then we didn't record last week, and then now we're ditching them this week. Go check out Dust Biters. It's a card game about like Mad Max car gangs fighting
in a zine style.
Yeah,
it comes actually with a zine for the backer pledge too.
Yeah, so
I learned about zines from Kaiser.
That sounds about right. I do not see your email, Boyd. Oh, it went to spam. Both of our fan emails went to spam. That's amazing.
Perfect.
All right, they are out of spam. All right, so we're gonna skip news and Kickstarter this week. Do you want to do your bloody minute?
I won. It was 2-0. I crushed him. It was a lot of KOs, and I mostly did them to him, and I won. So
cool.
I'm at 1L, 1W. The fucked thing was I had to take Journeyman Skinks, and since we have random MVPs now, Journeyman and shit like that can get the MVP, and of course the Journeyman got the fucking MVP, and also was the only one that got a touchdown, or one of the 2 that got a touchdown. So he had 7-star player points. How could I not hire him? And then I did random skills for him because that's how skills work now. So I spent 2 points, or I spent 3 points, and then 4-star player points, and I got him Sprint Sure Feet on 2 random rolls. Which means now his movement 8, he can go 9, 10, 11 on a 2+, and I get a free reroll when he does that. So I have a movement practically 11 skink with a 2+ reroll for those movements. I think I'm going to be this Journeyman has turned into a touchdown monster.
Nice.
Fingers crossed.
Well, there you go.
Because I think everyone's not having a great time on this new system, especially with star player points and things like that. So, and like price changes. So, I mean, after game 2, game 1, game 2, thumbs up. We'll see what game 3 is.
Cool.
Okay.
Tom Photos did 2 random 3 SPP skills and got some bad skills on his characters. He got a multi-block on a blitzer. What multi-block is when you throw a block, you can throw it against 2 different people in front of you, but you take a -2 strength. That means he is multi-blocking at 1 strength.
Oh.
Which is bad.
That doesn't sound great.
That is very, very bad. And then he got a black orc with fend, which means if someone blocks him and pushes him, he can be all like, hey, you can't follow. But if you're blocking a black orc who has strength 4, that means you are strength 5. And that is not a good choice, but is a choice.
Yep.
But you know what? Now, if you do that, you can't follow. So not great randoms for him.
Indeed.
Yes.
Cool. That was actually probably close to a minute for a bloody minute.
It could have been if I had written down when I started it.
Write down when you end it, at least. So
well, that's bloody minute. Kind of mixed in there in the we're not doing news and Kickstarters banter. Which we're not doing news and Kickstarters. So we're going to skip right over to some listener feedback, which we have a variety of listener feedback. So we will start with 2 fresh emails that just came in while recording.
Right, fresh out of the
freshest.
Oven. Fresh out of the bun oven. Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you'd like to send us an email, like Matt did here. Personal motivation email. Mostly sending this to get myself to stay on my exercise bike till the end of the show when you read it.
We really should have done news and Kickstarter, then really made it like really a 2.5
multi-hour.
He's just dying on the bike.
But also wanted to ask you if you that the Kickstarter you covered last show, Ardria, the paths we tread.
It was Dare Tread.
Dare Tread. Ridiculous title, by the way. Yeah, especially date. Might have just been better off as a video game. Where do we draw the line? Is it really worth trying to put NPCs into a game for the sake of making on of the players just stop playing?
I think making one of the players just stop playing.
Yes.
I don't know. I know it's similar to to an extent similar to the complaint I've heard for Descent.
Yeah.
Of people just being like, what's the point of it being a board game if there's all this shit that's happening on an app?
Yeah.
And especially story-wise, and there's a lot of cutscenes between people talking. I don't have a problem with it as long as I'm invested in the story. I am fine with it.
Yeah.
And this is from the Zia last.
Yes.
Yeah. So Matt's
the drift system people.
So Matt's in the chat. So first of all,
Legends.
He just wanted to stay on the bike until we read it on this episode, which still we could have drug it out by doing news and Kickstarter. And he apologizes for the typing. He was trying to dress his kid, and that's why the typing's a mess. Probably one finger swiping while trying to get a toddler in clothes. I can imagine.
Do one, then the other.
So for me, the difference, and I think this is probably where the line is drawn, is what budget you have and what your background is. This is from Zia Legends of Drift System. These are people who obviously have a board game background, and although the budget that goes into board games is increasingly ridiculous, Iridia is currently, for some reason, not showing what it's at.
Hot refresh.
But it's over $1 million. I know that.
I just loaded this. I don't know why it's blanking out. Yeah, but it is.
Let's call it $1,026,000.
So that's an obscene budget.
But also their goal was 720,000, which is 670,000 more than what a usual game would be.
Oh yeah,
because then they would be able to throw up their many thousands of % funded because we already have the money and yeah.
Well, and in their case, they're doing some of that increased budget is justified in that it's pre-painted minis and all this other stuff that adds a ton of effort onto it. It is an interesting line to draw, though. Because at some point, some of these games do, even while I'm playing them, I'm I'd rather just play a video game of this that does a lot of the stuff for me. Especially with some of these RPG type story games, with full app support and stuff. it almost does make me wish that there was, and even just like a digital board game, like if there was a way to play Mansions of Madness full on in the app, that'd be fucking great for me.
But then they couldn't charge you like $80 and then 30 and then 30 and then 30.
Well, there's no reason you couldn't do both.
Why not both? Because then people
Some
complain
people like
like,
to
"Oh, I'm not
play-
even getting any physical components
Exactly.
with
Some
this."
people like, and there is an aspect of playing games that I do.
That's why
like
people
the
complain
physical
about
stuff.
the DLC in the root app because it's like, "Oh, I'm only getting 2 factions and
Yeah.
blank
And
for
it's fucking-
$10."
I'm one of those people a little bit.
Yeah.
I also understand that app development is not, free.
and also like brand new assets. It's not like
Yeah.
they're just tossing the assets from the board game into
Correct.
the game.
So I get it. I can also understand the complaint. Hydra Buster, I don't remember who that is, in chat, talks about like for Regia, the budget being so high is like a cause for concern. Like how much of the game is done? Like, have they already spent a lot of that money and they're trying to recoup it through the Kickstarter? Or is there like, this is what we think this is going to cost? And then they get into doing all of it and go, oh my God, it's going to cost so much more.
I mean, maybe they've actually set a realistic goal for how much they actually need to make this happen instead of
because it's
Instead of delivering-
ambitious, so.
And they at least are launching already now when they know that shipping is fucking stupid. I mean, maybe that's where, maybe this originally was going to be a $50,000 Kickstarter and they said, holy shit, look at the cost of shipping.
Now we
That's
need an
one of the
extra
news items we cut is how fucking bonkers shipping is.
we need an extra $630,000, but it's only shipping. That's all we're pledging.
The game
for.
actually only costs $5, but we got to charge you $150 so that we can get it to you.
That's probably more real than people realize.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next week. It's bad. So yeah. I don't know. It is an interesting point. And I have it's games have brushed the line. I'll see when I bust open my copy of Descent and when I play Jime finally. How I feel those games are getting close. Some games are vastly improved by an app just to help manage some of the bookkeeping and the fiddliness.
Yeah.
But I think that there is a point where it does get to be like, why isn't this just
I
a
think
game?
anything that's like tactics based like those, still having the board is always going to matter on those that you don't like even with all the extra stuff the apps do, just having the board itself is still going to be good for that. Whereas if it's, I don't know, if it's something more like super story based, I could start to say it, but I'm very much like my line is a lot further on that than I think a lot of other people. So
yeah, I know. Like I play enough like XCOM, and like that was one of the games I didn't talk about in banter that I played until I got fucking sick of it because it's a broken fucking shitty mess. Empire of Sin, that's like an Prohibition era XCOM knockoff, but grid based strategic, mover, and like video games can do that. Like I don't need a board game.
I'm not saying that they can't, but I think.
Well, so just for me, I think that keeps me from that line being as far for you. It's like I play a lot of those games where it's like, I'll do tactical board type stuff in a computer game just fine. So, I have not played Destinies. Does anybody play Destinies?
Destines?
Destines?
I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Don't know. Let's jump over to the next.
No is the
email.
answer to that question.
Thanks for the email, Matt. Sorry that we didn't keep you on your bike until you heard it.
Well, the episode continues.
Yeah.
This next one is from Boyd.
Oh my God.
A
What
visit
is this?
to MH Cabin Con. 'Twas the first night of Mile High Cabin Con when all through the house not a creature was sober, not even the mouse. The beer bottles were stacked without a care in hopes that St. Adrian would soon be there. The snorers were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sweet TI-4 victory danced in their heads. And Julie in her kerchief and Anthony in his cap had just settled in for a long winter park nap. When out of the lawn there arose such a clatter, Paul sprung from his bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window May flew like a flash. looked out of Thunderdome and threw up at the sash. The moon of Boyd's ass from passing out in the snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what John and Ryan's wondrous eyes did appear but Adrian's old-ass car and 8 deformed reindeer. With a
2003, it's not that old.
With a little old driver, so bearded and thick, Thursby knew in a moment it must be St. Adrian Rick. Rich. More rapid than Jeff's injuries, his corsairs they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Jester, now Jinx, now Seven, I don't bother to name. I get up here, fuckers. Now dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricanes fly, when they meet an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the roof, Adrian's rust bucket flew, with the trunk full of games and St. Adrian too. And then, in a twinkling, Zach and Andrew heard on the roof Adrian cursing and muttering when he tripped on a hoof. As Pat drew in his head and was turning around, down the chimney fell Adrian onto his head in a bound. He was dressed in all fur from his head to his foot. The V-neck exposed his chest, covered in dark hair and soot. A bundle of games he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was red from hot Cheeto.
I do not eat hot Cheetos.
Chris gave him a joint, which he held tight in his teeth.
I also don't smoke weed.
And the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a punchable face and a little beer belly. That's true.
Jesus Christ.
That shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work.
Oh my God.
Threw down the games and started to twerk. The plunging his finger inside his nose and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He stumbled to his ride. To his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But Tom and Rick heard him grumble ere he drove out of sight. Happy Mile High Cabin Con to all. And to all, oh, fuck it, I'm still bitter. I mean, good night.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, that was legendary.
That was amazing.
That was absolutely amazing.
You know, any other email you send after that's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, congratulations, boy. You have peaked.
Yeah.
Peaked. You began to peak, and now you have peaked. It's all downhill from here. Just so you know. At least, you know what? You got one more weekend. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. That was absolutely amazing.
Well, then.
You're welcome for me reading that all vaguely correctly.
Vaguely correctly.
I vaguely knew that poem, so I could actually get things correct-ish. Because I had no idea that's what I was about to read.
I opened it. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm legitimately impressed, Boyd. I did not know you had that in you.
Absolutely. I'm glad we cut everything else in this episode because it was
seriously.
going to be a long one at the end, but it was worth it.
It was worth
100%.
You've gotten a solid 5 out of 5 star episode here, everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. We do have one more bit of listener feedback. That's now just going to pale in comparison.
Yeah.
To that masterpiece.
What else is there?
It's a YouTube.
Oh.
So this is from like 2 weeks ago. This came in like right at the end of the episode, and we were like, we'll just cover it next week, and then we didn't have it next week. So on episode 238, an unlikely combo, Paulo's back in Paulo's corner. He says, at 33:55, you are saying you played Res Arcana, but the game you're describing is definitely not Res Arcana. I'm sure you were talking about Ex Libris. Am I right?
Correct. So much so that someone corrected me in Slack, and then even though the thread was right there correcting me, I still called it the wrong thing.
You still called it Res Arcana.
Immediately.
You're like, yeah, you're right. I did play Res Arcana.
Which it was one of those things when you were talking about how bad it was. I was like, man, Nick loves Res Arcana.
No,
in
it's
my mind,
I was
like,
in my mind, I was like, this sounds. I didn't realize the game was so much like Ex Libris.
So yeah, Paulo, you are absolutely right.
Yes.
Jeff was talking about the wrong fucking game.
Correct.
Or using the wrong name. He was talking about the right game.
Correct. Talking about the wrong titled vehicle of gaming.
Yeah.
So
all of
which
the
game were you
hate-
talking about then?
Ex Libris.
There you go.
There you go. All of the hate he directed at Res Arcana should instead be turned onto Ex Libris.
Correct.
But yeah, that wraps it up for listener feedback.
Yes.
So thanks everybody for contributing. It had been like over a month since we had emails, and now we had a bunch of emails.
We did?
We had the email.
The email. Jesus Christ, that thing was
Shut
amazing.
it all down. We're not even making it to 250.
Yeah, I don't think the show will ever top that. Well done, Boyd. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. If you want to try and compete with Boyd on listener feedback, you can do so in a bunch of different ways. One of the main ways, you can send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We also have an Instagram at MHGameGuys, Facebook.com/MHGameGuys. Go to punchboardmedia.com and search for My High Game Guys or MHGG to see all of our episode posts, including like show notes and links to news and Kickstarters that we normally talk about on these episodes. Not going to be much like that on this set of show notes, but there is a link to other awesome things like our Slack channel, where you can chat with all of the different people that got name dropped in that fucking awesome email.
Yes. Attendees.
Yeah, that's also where it was planned. So like, your only chance of getting to go to the inaugural test MHCC was
In
by
Slack.
being in Slack.
Yeah.
So you should join the Slack. You can just lurk, even. You don't have to participate. Just lurk.
Just like,
Get dirt. You could definitely get a lot of dirt.
because I mean, honestly, even if you do participate, there's still a lot of times you'll look at a thread and be like, I don't want to talk in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Nick today, like, hey, I saw Green Knight. It was good. Hey, Nick, let me link you to this massive thread. No.
Yeah, 240 entries in
Not
there.
gonna participate in that. So yeah, lots of reasons to still check out the show notes over on punchboardmedia.com, as well as checking out all the other awesome members of Punchboard Media and their various blog posts and podcasts and videos and photographies and all of that stuff. So bunch of cool things. That's pretty much it there. If you don't already, be sure to follow us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys, so you can interrupt the show when we record. Or if you're listening to this and parts of it are like
interrupt is a good word for it.
or sometimes very topically add
Yeah.
something interesting to talk about and discuss. I just remember like last episode, somebody definitely like subbed or cheered and was like, I just want to do this to distract and interrupt the guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You have succeeded.
You and the end of Evangelion. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's the end of this episode.
Zach got it.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
There isn't probably going to be a stream on Friday. Maybe.
Oh, I'm sure we have Twitch account. You can stream Twitch from your phone, right?
I have no idea. I've never
You
tried.
could probably just be like, boop, I'm going to make a nightmare happen. Maybe we'll make that happen.
Maybe.
Or
Depends-
potentially Megan and I will try to do a 2-player stream because I don't think I'm going to make it up. Originally the plan was that I'd come up maybe Thursday,
Do a half
and Thursday
day.
night, and then Friday and come back. But I have Dungeon Delvers Thursday night, so I won't be coming up after Dungeon Delvers.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm still going to be painting all fucking day Friday.
Yeah.
Anybody from out of state who's coming through, any fans coming through town who's not one of the locals that I see all the time, if you get in and you want to do something on Thursday, still reach out to me. I am off on Thursdays, so I would be happy to maybe go grab a drink or a snack or
Lunch?
something.
There's some out of towner lunch happening.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
in. I'm in. Out of towner lunch. I have a haircut at some point Thursday, but if I have to reschedule it, I will. I don't need a haircut.
I think there's a Boyd and May train via
Yeah.
Zach happening for
And Rick. So
The phrasing gets worse.
it's a lunch train.
Just
Lunchtime.
That's what-
lunchtime.
this entire conversation, I'm just thinking of how I'm going to have Adrian twerking on the episode image. So
God damn it. Oh, gross. Nobody
in-
needs that. Nobody needs that.
Was there twerking and wrecking ball?
I don't. I don't think so. It was just
Okay.
her scantily clad riding a wrecking ball.
I think I've
The
never.
whole
I don't
fucking
think I've ever
episode.
actually heard or seen the video. I've just seen the picture.
I've unfortunately done both.
Okay.
Seen and heard. But yeah, that's the episode. So Mile High Cabicon this weekend, so there will be a lot of stuff next episode.
Yes,
Talking about
we
all
will
of the
have,
shenanigans
we'll
there.
have a massive amount of craziness and stories and such from this weekend.
Yep.
Indeed. And we'll be back next week with news and Kickstarters. Maybe
knows?
banter and games.
Maybe
will
we'll just talk
overshadow it
about
again.
things that are entertaining the whole time.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know with us.
You never know.
It's a gamble.
We might just do quality.
Maybe.
Gross.
But yeah. So that's the episode. We're all done. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us on Twitch, all of you who did. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I am, man, fucked up, Jeff.
Bye.
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 Where we all
Bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.